lot of mixed feelings with Anthem. It's a game that I have so much fun controlling, shooting, and just playing. Its gameplay foundation is entertaining and controls feel polished, but for just about everything I like about this game, there's something wrong with it. It's but another games as a service title that charges the full price of admission, adds on microtransactions, and arrives lacking stability and substance that matches all these extra price tags. Perhaps the weakest part of Anthem is its story, and that's incredibly weird to say with this being a BioWare game. BioWare, a game studio that for the most part has been well known for its incredible storytelling, or at least most recently, its ambitions to almost tell a great story. Anthem is the latter. You play as one of these noble warrior heroes, no, not Captain Marvel, but instead Iron Man, a freelancer. These humans called freelancers that use mech suits called javelins that aren't Iron Man, but let's be honest, totally feel like Iron Man, are the guardians of the human world. In the same universe, a group of aliens try to harness the power of the Anthem for their own evil ambitions, while the freelancers try to prevent the apocalyptic aftermath from affecting the innocent humans. Your progression throughout the story and connections with people in the world are all established at Fort Tarsus. This is the home base of the freelancers where people go to upgrade their javelins, buy things, and just see what's up with the merchants. It's filled with people to talk to, and to BioWare's credit, some of them are engaging, filled with personality, and are fun to talk to. It's not always like that though, and you end up getting these dialogue choices that feel completely irrelevant to the actual story, because no matter what you choose, they don't tend to impact the story. Sure, there are moments where these characters will give these heartfelt stories or recounts of events in Anthem, but most of the time I just want to get out of Fort Tarsus to get back into the action. The world of Anthem is cool, I want to explore it, I want to hear and learn more about it. However, what's being shown or rather told through these interactions and cutscenes don't really do a great job at matching up with the action that I've fallen in love with. Anthem feels like renting a sports car to go to a McDonald's drive-thru or buying a 4K TV to watch 360p content. The foundation is great, but the way it's being used in terms of gameplay is incredibly lacking. You start off your journey by selecting one of 4 javelin as your own. Each javelin has a unique playstyle to it that's up to you to find which one suits you. For me, that was the quick interceptor javelin that's almost like this mech ninja robot that felt so badass to me. Whether I was playing with a controller or on a mouse and keyboard, just flying through the air, boosting out of the way of a mountain, and just soaring through the sky felt fantastic. I love it, and I just can't state how great it feels to jump off a cliff, fly through a ravine only to find a group of enemies and start shooting at them. The foundation of Anthem is absolutely marvelous. Each javelin is equipped with a pair of weapons and special abilities, and each one of them is fully customizable or upgradable. This is where Anthem's action RPG mechanics come into play. You have full reign to customize the cosmetics of your javelin, add new abilities, or as you gain loot, upgrade your weapons and set abilities. In the earlier parts of the game, I found it addicting to mix and match different weapons and abilities to find my perfect playstyle. That early on experimentation of finding a great combo so that I could be a vital part to my squad was fun, but that's the honeymoon period of Anthem, and sadly it doesn't last long. After the whole new game feeling wears off, the shine of it really starts to die down. You see, Anthem starts off strong with this core foundation, but then doesn't really pick up until the very end of the 15-hour campaign, where suddenly the stronghold missions really kick up the adrenaline. These are essentially raids that throw tougher bosses at you with more complex attack patterns and more rare loot. They're a joy to play, but they're so far into the game that the whole middle part of the 15 hours is left with nothing but repetitive shallow missions, and that somehow sucked the fun out of flying as a knockoff Iron Man. Throughout the campaign, I was bombarded with the same missions over and over again. Going on fetch quests, collecting items, taking out the same types of enemies in different areas, controlling the area of a map, and so on and so forth. They lack any form of depth, and with the gameplay mechanics being so fun, I can't help but feel like they were just wasted on such boring missions outside of the initial WoW and the endgame content. Add on top of that the handful of different bugs and just bad quality of life issues. I'll be flying over a valley and spot an enemy only to have the enemy disappear or just straight up turn invisible but still be completely active. Load times are long, ranging from 45 seconds to a minute long, and they appear every time you switch between Fort Tarsus to your mission or to the javelin customization area. Oddly enough, I also noticed that the load times got worse the longer I played into the campaign. Some of the bugs have been fixed with a day 1 patch, but things aren't entirely smooth just yet. I'll still have disappearing enemies, but at least the whole randomly getting kicked out or the audio just getting cut out isn't a thing anymore. In the end, Anthem's strengths are constantly fighting with the game's weaknesses. I just want to jump into the world, explore, and take on some actual great design missions. Sadly, those great design missions are at the end of the game and they don't last very long. The start of the game is fun, but it constantly is boggled down by bugs, loading times, and just very shallow missions with a weak story where the most fun part I'm having is just flying around, and that wears out pretty quickly. To be frank, I want to love Anthem and I do love parts of it, but the rest of the game makes it so difficult. When you're out in the environment gliding through the sky with your javelin, Anthem looks stunning. The wildlife, patches of foliage, and the lighting system, it all looks like a lavish tech demo, and I guess it technically was. If you have a current series version of an Nvidia card and a modern CPU, then this is one of the handful of games you can probably run at 4K 60, and the end result looks incredible. Javelin models have this great sense of wear and tear to them that make them feel more realistic in the world and part of the environment. Battles in Anthem look like beautiful fireworks shows flashing colors of light throughout the forest. Sadly, things do get drawn back when you get to the fort where you're taking out of your javelin for a first-person view of all the NPCs in Anthem. They're not the best looking character models, especially for BioWare standards, but I guess maybe they're on par with those standards if we were talking about Andromeda. As for performance, this is a game you'll want to play on PC for sure. Pretty much every console model runs Anthem at 30 frames per second, with frame rate drops pretty much across the board, but the base consoles have it the worst. The Xbox One X runs at 4K native resolution, while the PS4 Pro runs at 1800p, and both of those frame rates fluctuate between 25 frames per second and 30 frames per second. As for the base consoles, the PS4 runs at 1080p, while the Xbox One runs at 900p, certainly a softer looking image than the PS4. On the audio front, Anthem's environmental design and weaponry sound effects sound fantastic. Jumping off a cliff and throttling the jets on my javelin feels like I'm in control of a full-size jet, yet in the form factor of a small suit. There's this big crunch and punch with every weapon that makes them feel like these futuristic nuclear weapons, and I mean technically they are, but you get my point. When it comes to the general audio effects, I'm very pleased with BioWare's work. On the other hand, when talking to NPCs, it's kind of hit or miss. Again, the great storytelling and dialogue you'd expect from BioWare is just really mixed here. I have some NPCs delivering great retellings of their stories, while others just feel like they phoned in the conversation. In February 2019, EA decided to release a brand new AAA title that aims to bring a new game as a service title, and it was absolutely wonderful. That game was called Apex Legends. Anthem, on the other hand, is but another game that just wasn't finished when it launched. It's a 15-hour campaign where the substance of it lasts about 1 to 3 hours before it begins to feel like a drag. Design decisions are all over the place, and the result is a game that just isn't fun to play past the initial wow factor. Sure, like Destiny, this can get more content down the line that completely changes and improves the final game, but the final game is already here and it's severely lacking. This is a game you either try out through paying the $5 on EA's subscription service or use Redbox to play it for a day. Regardless, it's something that you shouldn't be paying anywhere near $60 for the current state that it's in. I give Anthem a 6.5 out of 10. Thank you all very much for watching my review of Anthem. If you enjoyed it and found it helpful, then please consider sharing it or maybe just give the video a thumbs up. If you want to support my game journalism work, then you can check out my Patreon in the description down below, along with my Discord where I pretty much talk gaming with everyone that watches my videos. Thank you all once again for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you all in the next one.